Yeah, we look, Mitchell and I look forward to talking about contemporary carnival glass. You know, we collect both kinds, and Gary gave a really nice talk today about the contemporary plates and all the different variations that there are, so many of those. So we're eager to get started here. Go ahead, Mitch.
Let me pick up this yellow bowl here. When it was first put on the auction, it was yellow bowl. Of course, I sold all my black lights, so I had to borrow one of them back to be able to show you that it is uranium glass. And these black lights are $3.95 and $3.65. $3.65 will hurt your eyes, and it shows stuff that's not uranium. Why would you want it if you're a Vaseline glass collector? I don't know. Anyway, this piece has an LIG mark on the back. Summit got this mold from Imperial when they closed down. Most of you know Imperial made very little Vaseline glass. However, we can tell by the 3-in-1 crimp on it that it's Imperial, it's not Summit. This was a test that they made, and they made very few of these. And it's beautiful, in my opinion.
Yes, it is. And if you see some Imperial glass near that color, one of the last colors that Imperial made was sunburst yellow, and it'll always be marked, if it's marked, ALIG.
Right.
And the only other color that is marked ALIG would be some of the pink pieces.
The two last colors Imperial made.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pick this bowl up, and Scott and Suzanne are here. So if you have the contemporary sheet here, you'll read this, and it says AIG, Ultra Blue, Aurora Jewels. They're two different colors. So which one is this? Well, I actually had to call John Valentine and ask him, because I thought it was Ultra Blue. Kathy Conn Turner told me it wasn't, that they didn't make this in Ultra Blue. However, you'll see an Ultra Blue peanut set right here. It's the same color. John got this out of the shed. It's an experimental piece. All of his pieces had little numbers on them, because you know when they go through the auction, sometimes that stuff goes missing, and which is not here anymore. But you could have picked up the phone and called John. He could have told you what he paid for it and the date he got it and exactly where he got it. But this is a Ultra Blue piece of Imperial glass, experimental. So probably one of one.
I want to talk about these Poppy Show vases. As most of you probably know, Mary Jo and I collect a bunch of these. I think we have about 50-some different colors in the collection. And there are like four generations of that production of Poppy vases. There's the old, and they come in the colors of green, marigold, smoke, amber, purple, and have all those. And we have two green ones here, and in the early 70s, Imperial reissued, and that one is marked IG, and they will be marked IG. They also made at that time for LeVay, they made white Poppy Show vases and whimsied some of those, and some of those are really interesting. We have a few of those. And this one back here is an enigma, because it looks and just like the other one, only it is not marked. So I can't say exactly if I'm sure of the age of that. So that was, the first generation. The IG ones are the second generation. Then we had the Singleton Bailey generation made by Fenton, and there are a couple examples of those. And those things have really, in the last year or so, really become popular for whatever reason, and the prices have escalated quite a bit for those. And they were all, limited editions. I think the numbers made were
Low.
None of them exceeded in many more than 150, and some a lot less than 100. And then the fourth generation was for the Lincoln Land Club. Dick Betker had Fenton make some aqua opal ones. This one here is beautiful. If you haven't seen it, the decorations on the top are really nice. It has the celebrating 100 years of Carnival Glass. They did this in 2007, and so if you get this thing, don't wash the bottom because that'll come off. We learned the hard way. And then we have this one, and you'll find this is not iridized, and I'm thinking this is made post. It's not marked in any way. It's probably made post classic era, probably in the 30s, 40s maybe, and they made different colors of these. You'll find them occasionally. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, this is a Terry Crider piece signed on the bottom. Terry didn't make big vases. He made little tiny vases. They were about this high. However, he had a wife. Her name was Donna. She loved vases. So he made her a few vases and a few water pitchers, which we'll talk about in a minute. This thing is absolutely beautiful. It's cased on the inside, threaded on the outside. It's just great. And since he made them special for her, we all assume that these are one of one. So we don't know of any other ones. The first ones I ever saw came from John and Joseph. They were friends with the Criders. And when she passed away, they went up and got all the water pitchers and all the vases.
Okay, I'll talk about some of the aqua opal pieces. Here we have cactus compote, drapery, rose bowl, and we have this banana boat, hobnail epern, grape and cable, spittoon, and these four aqua opal cactus pieces. This butterfly and berry whimsy tumbler. This butterfly and berry whimsied from a tumbler vase. The reason I put them all together is they were all made by LeVay. And if you see aqua opal with a Fenton mark on it, it was made with the butterscotch iridescence mainly. It was made in 1980 or 81 because that's when they made a turn of those, and they made all that stuff. And then there's even some souvenir club pieces they made in aqua opal at that same time. These are not signed. This one's signed. They made 50 of these spittoons, and they made them in other shapes too. They made them in vases that I love. And that's marked. I have not seen an aqua opal cactus piece that was ever signed by Gary, although I know they were made for him. They also made two different sizes of cruets in aqua opal and the hobnail pattern. So those are all, Gary this afternoon talked about how the makers of contemporary glass made it for mass production, but not for collections. But Gary Levi took a little different take on it. So for the most part, he limited production on all of his pieces to intended for the collectors out there. So, go ahead.
Okay, I have up here a couple of Imperial. These are meadow green. One of the last colors they made. It's not as late as the pink and the yellow. And they contain great content of uranium, as you just saw. All Imperial meadow green glows just like that. You don't even have to be close to it. And if once you get to looking at it, you can tell. And for those of you that don't know, let me mention this. You can take a flash picture, turn your flash off and take you another picture, and you can tell if it's Vaseline or not, or if it's uranium glass, if it has good uranium content. You don't even need a black light.
If you're into Fenton red, there are a couple pieces here of flat stretch plate. It's really beautiful. It's really nice, flat as can be. And this vase here is kind of a mandarin red. Very nice. Did you talk about that peanut water set?
Oh, I just mentioned it. Okay, the water.
Interesting story with
This
it.
is 474 Imperial, ultra blue, as we'd said a while ago. On the bottom is a peanut. These were made by Lucille Kennedy, who was the secretary at Imperial at the time. She was also in cahoots with E. Ward Russell somehow. I never did find out how. But the ones she had made, I was told there were 100 made. I did a lot of musical events for Jimmy Carter for president. A lot of the rock bands, especially Southern rock bands, went on the road with him. I was told she was going to have 100 pieces made to give to the people that were exceptional in the course of running him for election. Tony thinks there are 75. I don't really know. But all of them have a peanut on the base, even the tumblers.
Yeah, and it says the Spirit of 76.
Yeah, Spirit of 76 with a peanut on the base. Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer. And there's some other, the robin here, the ice white, the ice blue, and is this a Verdi green?
Verdi green, yeah.
We think there were 100 plus or minus of each of those colors made in the robin while we're on that. Yeah.
This is another piece of levee. Good luck. They made this into not only plates, but vases. I have a bunch of those. I have 7 or 8 of the vases at home in different heights. And it was made by Mosser.
Yeah. Fenton actually made some of those plates. They have a Westmoreland paneled grape back on them. That one's actually signed by Gary. It has Gary's mark on it. It's a stylized frog is what he said it was. But Fenton made that in lavender. Now mine is sitting on my desk at the office, so I wouldn't forget to bring it for the plate display. So you didn't get to see it today, but it's exactly like that, except it's not crimped, and it's lavender.
And it doesn't have a frog?
No, it doesn't have the frog on it at all. And for those of you that don't know, let me turn this upside down. You can come up and look at this. Gary has a stylized frog. It's right here. It's actually L-E-V-I.
Right.
And he called it a stylized frog.
Right. If you get a magnifying glass and you use your imagination a little bit, you can see L-E-V-I on there.
And one of my favorite pieces in Contemporary Carnival is this little spittoon. It was made for a WWW club before it shut down. It is stretch glass. It's a ruby stretch glass. It's very limited. I'm sure Brian can confirm this. 50 of them came out of the oven. 150 or 200 of them went in. So this is a very, very scarce piece of Contemporary Carnival Glass Club commemoratives. And I think this is beautiful. I have 11 of these. I hope to have 12 when I leave here, but I might not.
And what do we call it? What are these? What are we calling this shape here?
I haven't figured that out yet. This looks like pinched on the sides.
Yeah. Those are neat. I don't know anything about them, but
Let me get
except
the
that
other
I
one,
like
hold
them.
it up. And they are stretch. They have a thread around the collar. I don't know if you can see these or not, and they are stretch. And they're ribbed or threaded on the inside. Both of them are alike, except absolutely different colors. Do you know anything about them at all? Me, these first I've seen.
Yeah. There was a couple of pairs sold here recently and did quite well.
Somebody with better eyesight can come and read the bottom of this for me. Candy, can you do that? How about you?
I can give it a shot. Or let Nancy. I think it more easy.
This was the first for me. That one has it on the bottom. Let me see if this one has a sticker and it's signed too. Maybe we'll get some hot information here.
Yeah. They're Oriental and Flume.
Oriental,
Orient and Flume,
okay.
yellow art glass bag.
Yeah, we probably could have read the auction schedule and found that out, but
It's Orient.
Orient and Flume.
Okay, give it back.
I thought it said friend.
While I've got my black light in my pocket, just out of curiosity, it won't. But I just wondered, it looks like it could from the distance, but it won't. And again, once you get used to seeing uranium glass, you don't even need a black light most of the time.
You're into small things. We have a few of these in our house. Mary Jo uses them to decorate. We got them in the upstairs bathroom. She's a Jimmy Buffett fan, so we always do the, island motif, whatever you want to call it. So there are 5 different colors of those.
That's a little tiny fish.
Yeah.
Small animals, small Fenton animals are hot right now. And the decorators are buying the undecorated ones and decorating them again. So how many of you remember that ACJ had to cease and desist LG Wright Company for a fake Northwood mark? Miss Dunham remembers that. I'm sure there are a lot of you that did. Frank Fenton was a member of ACGA, and he turned right in because he was making glass for Wright. LG Wright made no glass for themselves. It was all made by somebody else. So here we have a panel thistle piece. Very nice looking. It's a nice ice white. To me, ice has to have some cloudiness to it. This is a Terry Crider piece. Inside, you can come and look at this, there's a Higby mark. So he not only faked Northwood, he faked Higby. And he had this mold made. The Higby mark has a HIG in the wings of the bee. This one, as you'll see, has none.
I'm sorry, Mary Jo, but I got to talk about this piece.
That one of the hard things about doing this is we have to tell you about pieces we won't.
We have, if anybody's been to our house, we have one of these in just about every room, different colors. And these are made, originally, Westmoreland made some, Rosso made some, in lots of different colors. Functionally, they're door stops. They weigh 6 pounds, so you can get that and get your exercise in.
Yeah. The Rosso were made by Mosser.
Yes. So,
Tony, how many sizes does that come in?
well, the only 2 I know of is just
There's a little-
that one and the
little-
miniature
little
size.
pup, I
and
call
we
it.
tried to get the miniature size to match the color. And there are probably more colors of the miniatures than there are of the big ones,
I would say so.
of the door stops.
Highly collectible pattern, moon and star. As your auctioneer can probably tell you that Boone and Star collectors are almost as bad as carnival glass collectors. If it's a pattern that they like. If it's two flowers, we know who's going to probably look at it for sure. If it's grape cable, we know who's looking at it, etc. These things are done by Terry Crider. You'll see them often. It's red, it's Moon and Star, so it has to be Wisher. Wisher is always signed, W-I-S-H-E-R. Most of the time it's going to be L.G. Wright or L.E. Smith. And this one's signed Terry Crider. So he bought a red blank from L.G. Wright and iridized it. And this one is signed. We haven't found where it was stuck up yet. So that's usually a key to the fact that they stuck it up and iridized it, but there's nothing here. I looked 3 times now.
This is, as soon as I saw it, assumed that it was L.E. Smith. They made a lot of white iridized crystal carnival in the early 70s, and we don't have this, but we have the Hobstar pattern they made in purple and white, and the white set they swung into vases, which are quite unusual, and clear crystal glass iridized. So that's kind of an interesting set with the ladle.
Sam Scott. Imperial glass, purple slag. Slag has to have white in it. This was iridized by Terry Crider. And you can see the Pontil and it's signed here on the base, but purple slag by Imperial.
And I hadn't seen many butterflies made by Westmoreland, but this is one of them, and looks like light amethyst to me in color.
These are Terry Crider. Normally Terry Crider vases you see are this size, as opposed to that big one down there.
Well, I'll be real honest with you, Mitchell. I'm running out of things I
Okay.
know stuff about, and I don't want to
Well,
lie.
Well, let's hit this. Here's some more Moon and Star. I saw this on the auction as a rolled rim cake plate. However, I'm pretty sure it's a chip and dip. And this is a Moon and Star L.E. Smith. There's also an egg plate back here, which you don't ever see either one of these. Did you talk about this one?
No.
Charles Gibson, master glass blower, worked for Cambridge Glass. He had a little bitty shop in Milton, West Virginia. If you didn't know where it was, you could easily get lost. You drive past Blenco, turn left, and go under a railroad overpass and down a little gravel road, and there he is. He had a stroke in 2000 and had to quit making glass. So anything after 2000, one of his employees made it. He made a lot of stuff that was mold blown and a lot of stuff that was freehand. The good thing about Charles, he was proud of his work. He dated and signed everything. The best example of this piece I ever saw is sitting in John Rogers' house. My pockets are deep, but they're not that deep, so it didn't go home with me. And Fenton made these also, heavy iris.
We ran into I'm sure you've seen it going down 44, the Rolla Antique Mall. We ran into a water set, a blown water set of Gibson. And I sent that to John Valentine, and he said he didn't know of any other ones like that. And I named the pattern Valentino for John.
Most of you know John and Joseph, I assume. So
This is all their glass.
Yeah, and the glass in Tampa was all theirs. Joseph probably had the best contemporary aqua opal collection of anybody I know, bar none. And the strange thing about those two fellas, they bought the same thing. So if one of them bought one, the other one bought one, well, then the exception seems to be the aqua opal.
Right. Joe's room, his room was all aqua opal. The butterfly and berry tumblers, I went in there and my jaw dropped because I'd read about them, and we had just started collecting them, and it was unbelievable, all the aqua opal they had, and it was just tremendous.
Okay, we're at an end, I guess. I want to offer you the opportunity to raise your hand up. If there's a piece that you want Tony or I to try to describe and discuss with you, we'll be happy to do it. So, any takers?
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
What makes it contemporary? What year did that start?
Contemporary started basically in 1964 with Imperial Glass, or maybe 62. And then Fenton became a contemporary reissuer mainly in 1970. And they started signing in late 70 and early 71. So the Fenton Contemporary is almost all signed, but there's some of the real early pieces were amethyst, so they're unsigned and you think it's contemporary. It's not going to be, it could be contemporary even though it's not signed. Because they didn't, but from that point on, they signed everything, or almost everything. There's lots of stuff that if you fool with as much glass as some of these people do, you'll find a contemporary Fenton piece sometime that is not signed, especially in the later years when Frank was gone. It costs money to take somebody's mark off, which reminds me I need to tell you about this too. It costs money to take somebody's mark off a piece of glass. So I'll go back over here and pick this one up. So they were struggling for money, struggling for sales. So that $50 it cost them to take the mark off, and the $50 it cost them to fill it in and grind it down, and the $50 it cost them to put a new mark on there didn't happen. They were saving the $150. Imperial molds travel. Westmoreland molds traveled. Fenton molds have traveled. LIG, IG, ALIG, WG for Westmoreland. Summit Art Glass, Russ Vogelsong bought many Imperial and Westmoreland molds. Again, it cost to take that off and put something else on, so he didn't take them off. With Imperial and Westmoreland, it's very important that you know your colors. If you know that Imperial didn't make, I'm not going to say they didn't make Vaseline because I have a piece in my hand right here, but they didn't make very much. So if you see a Homestead chop plate in Vaseline, it's going to have an IG on it, or AIG, I think.
It'd be ALIG.
Yeah, but it's not going to be Imperial. And the same thing with Westmoreland. He just it didn't bother him that he didn't take the mark off. I guess he wasn't proud enough of his name to put it on there. I don't know, but it sure is confusing sometimes.
Isn't it also true that Imperial and Fenton sometimes would put the sticker on and not have?
On some of the older stuff, yeah, Before they started signing everything, yes, they put a sticker on there, and it might be a mold that they got from somebody else, because Fenton bought molds from, if it was a good mold and it worked, Frank bought it, I think.
And he borrowed molds.
And he borrowed them too.
Because that's how Gary Levi, he probably had enough money to sustain him because Gary owned a lot of molds and he leased them out to Fenton for the, what am I thinking of, the show, what was that?
QVC.
Yeah, QVC. A lot of those were his molds. I'm so glad you asked that question because it gives me a chance to get up on my soapbox here. I think contemporary is a bad name for this because, it's
60-something years old now.
Over 50 years old. So, I would like to start the second generation of Carnival Glass. Contemporary, I would say, is anything after Fenton closed down.
Yeah, right now it's Mosser.
That's about Mosser. Is about all there is. So, Any other questions? Yes.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Uh-oh.
Okay, on the web, there is a reproduction list, okay? Because all these years we've been collecting, it's like, okay, did somebody polish off a logo or something? Are they trying to, the AA imports that come in from Asia that are supposed to look like butterfly and berry, but they're
Draping
not
table hat
really?
pin holders.
So I have picked these people's brains as much as I can to make a list where you can see if it was an original pattern, old, and it's been reproduced or reissued or faked, and who did it, that there's a list out there for you. And it's called the continuing saga of when somebody realizes that there's something that's not on that list. It's not a static list. I just need you to let me know that, yeah, you've got it down at 5 colors, but there's a 6th one out there that you don't have. So this is a good plug for me to tell you about the reproduction list, which, as far as I'm concerned right now, is the best thing out there, as far as really have done a serious job of trying to list them all. So that's my plug. That was fun.
And is that on which website is that on?
Where do we find the list?
It's on the Texas. Okay, help me, club members. It's on the Texas Club site, and usually it's in their library or under their resources. It's on the HOGA. No,
Hooked on Carnival.
Hooked on Carnival site. So,
Either hookedoncarnival.com or
On your rainy day when you don't have anything to do, that'll be a great thing for you to do. There's lots of reading, lots of listening available, and more information than you can digest. Yeah. I will also say, while I'm thinking about it, Gary Sullivan put a lot of contemporary on the HOGA website. I was wanting to say HOC again, but I knew I was wrong. HOGA, they got a contemporary listing. He has it on there by maker and patterns at times. It's not all on there. There's enough on there that you can find out what you need to know usually.
It's in the library there too.
It's in the library on HOC also? Great. I didn't even know that because I always go to Gary's.
It's actually on Oval Library.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
do we know the fate of the molds? Were they all destroyed or are they still out there somewhere?
Well, the answer to that is no. We know where the LG Wright molds went when they had that fire sale. We know where the Imperial molds basically went when they had that sale. Westmoreland the same way. When George Fenton put all the molds up for sale. People like me, I don't know, Brian, did you try to buy one?
I did.
Yeah, so you could make him an offer and he might take it and he might not. In my case, he made me an offer. I took it, and then when I called him back to confirm the figure before I drove 500 miles to pick it up, the figure doubled. So I don't know about you all, but I don't like being misled. So my answer with him was I'm not interested anymore. So we don't know where they went after he sold what he sold. We don't even know who he sold stuff to.
Big round numbers, how much does a mold cost?
Well, I bought a mirror mold from Bernard Boyd. I'd carry my granddaughters with me during the summer. A lot of you know that. And I'd load up the car and we'd head north or south, whichever way they pointed, till we ran out of money. And one day we were in Ohio and we went to see Bernard. And I tried to buy the mirror mold from him. He didn't make them anymore for years. And there were no mirrors available anywhere, you know. And so that time I said, well, you know, I've got my granddaughters. You all just sell me that mold now. So he did, and it cost me $500. And it was 2 molds, not 1. Now, the George Fenton mold, Garden of Eden, $1,500, but then it turned into $3,000 plus tax. So I was no longer interested. I have no idea where it went.
I can give you a little bit of information on the Hoga molds. When I was storing them to them, Bob Grissom wrote them a letter, and all of those were destroyed. So we need the Hoga souvenir pieces that were done for Hoga, the molds were destroyed.
Okay. Now, we tried to get ours back, the WWW molds and the ICGA molds.
I have a mold story. Gary Levi, we were sitting around talking one day, and he said he went to see Cy Wright and was walking to his garage, and he said he looked down and he said, "Oh, there's a God and Home mold." And I think Gary got it and made those the later version of God and Home sets in amethyst red and maybe ice blue, which are nice sets,
Yeah.
neat sets made from those molds. But they were not. He didn't make them in any of the old colors.
Right. There are no blue ones.
and they're marked.
Right.
They're marked.
I forgot to tell you all yesterday that I met the lady who owns the Poppy Show mold. I've got her name at home on a card. Anyway, she's talking to Summit, and I beg both of them, don't make it in a color that's been previously made, please. So, but she owns the mold, and she's wanting to make some more. So hopefully the Poppy Show bases won't be in any.
And we know that the Fenton Collectors Group got some molds, and the Fenton Gift Shop got molds, and anything that's been made now by them is Mosser, being poured by Mosser, or Blenco, maybe. I don't know if they're taking any to Blenco, but they could. So the hand-painted pieces, by the way, for those that don't know, they use a different kind of enamel now, and it's not truly fired on like you and I remember. So if you wash it, it's Goofus glass. Don't wash it. Don't get it out in the rain. Your piece will no longer be enameled.
Okay, I don't have anything else.
No.
Thank you for your questions and your attention.